Welcome to Goddesses. I'm your host, Blair Minerva. Today on Goddesses, ever wonder how a leader, celebrated for unwavering strength, makes the agonizing choice to step down? Today, we uncover the hidden struggles behind Jacinda Ardern's empathetic leadership, revealing a crucial lesson about vulnerability that will challenge everything you thought you knew about power and self-sacrifice. When Jacinda Ardern stepped up to the podium that January morning in 2023, the world held its breath. Her voice, usually steady and assured, caught slightly as she spoke words that would echo across continents. In that moment, one of the world's most celebrated leaders revealed a truth rarely spoken in the halls of power. What drives a leader, acclaimed for her compassion and strength, to publicly acknowledge her limits? The answer lies in a story that challenges everything you think you know about power, vulnerability, and the true meaning of leadership. Picture yourself in rural Waikato, New Zealand. The air carries the sweet scent of fresh bread from a modest farmhouse kitchen. A young girl sits at the table, questioning her Mormon parents about inequality and social justice, while farm animals graze outside. This was Jacinda, already showing signs of the leader she would become. Not through loud proclamations or rebellious acts, but through quiet, persistent questioning of the world around her. The scuff of her shoes on wooden floors echoed with determination as she walked the halls of her childhood home. Each step carried her further from the traditional path laid out before her and closer to a vision of leadership that would challenge global norms. You can almost hear the conversations that shaped her worldview, feel the tension between tradition and transformation. At 37, Jacinda shattered expectations by becoming New Zealand's youngest prime minister. The media called it Jacinda mania, but beneath the excitement lay a deeper revolution. In a world of strongman politics and divisive rhetoric, she dared to suggest something radical. That kindness could be a political force. These weren't just words. They were a challenge to the very foundation of how we think about power. As you navigate your own leadership journey, consider how often you've been told that toughness and compassion must exist in separate spheres. Success came swiftly, but so did the challenges. Within months of taking office, Jacinda faced what would become a cascade of crises. Each morning brought new headlines, new pressures, new tests of her leadership philosophy. The world watched, wondering if kindness could truly survive in the crucible of real-world politics. Then came March 15, 2019. As news of the Christchurch mosque shootings broke, Jacinda faced a moment that would define not just her leadership, but her nation's soul. The weight of 51 lives lost pressed upon her shoulders as she stood before a grieving nation. In that darkness, she made a choice that would challenge conventional wisdom about crisis leadership. Instead of responding with typical political rhetoric, Jacinda chose a path that many considered risky. She donned a hijab, embraced the Muslim community, and spoke words that resonated globally. This wasn't just crisis management. It was a fundamental reimagining of how leaders could respond to tragedy. Within days, she had pushed through comprehensive gun reform, proving that empathy and decisive action could work in harmony. But more importantly, she showed you, watching from wherever you are, that leadership doesn't always wear the face we expect it to. When COVID-19 swept across the globe, Jacinda's leadership philosophy faced its greatest challenge. While other nations debated economic trade-offs, she made an unprecedented choice: to prioritize human life above all else. She implemented one of the world's strictest lockdowns. The results were remarkable. New Zealand achieved one of the lowest death rates in the Western world. But success came at a price that few could see from the outside. Each decision, each press conference, each late-night crisis meeting extracted its toll. You might recognize this in your own life, how even the right choices can wear you down when they demand everything you have. If you're enjoying Goddesses, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for our free 7-day email course, Be an Unstoppable Woman. Lead without apology using quiet power tactics from influential females like Oprah, Malala, and RBG. Now, back to the episode. Behind closed doors, the strain began to show. Economic pressures mounted. Public fatigue with restrictions grew. The very empathy that made Jacinda effective in crisis became a double-edged sword as she absorbed the pain and frustration of millions. Think about the last time you carried others' burdens. Now multiply that by an entire nation. During cabinet meetings, her voice remained steady, but those closest to her noticed the growing exhaustion in her eyes. The world still saw the composed leader, but few witnessed the quiet moments when the weight of responsibility became almost unbearable. This brings us back to that January morning in 2023. Now, you understand what led to those words. It wasn't weakness that brought her to this moment. It was the same courage that had defined her leadership. The courage to be honest, to be human, to show that even the strongest among us have limits. In stepping down, Jacinda taught perhaps her most powerful lesson. True leadership isn't about clinging to power until you break. It's about knowing when to pass the torch, about having the wisdom to recognize your own limitations. Today, Jacinda's legacy extends far beyond New Zealand's shores. The Zero Carbon Act she championed continues to shape environmental policy. Her response to crisis has become a case study in compassionate leadership. But her greatest contribution might be something more fundamental. She showed that vulnerability and strength aren't opposites, they're partners in effective leadership. Here's the real question this story poses. How often do you equate leadership with invulnerability? In your own life, how many times have you pushed past your limits because you thought that's what strength required? Jacinda Ardern's journey offers a different path. It challenges you to consider that true power might lie not in pretending to be superhuman, but in having the courage to be authentically human. To lead not from a position of unassailable strength, but from a place of genuine connection and self-awareness. This isn't just about political leadership. It's about how you lead in your own life, whether you're managing a team, raising a family, or simply trying to make a difference in your community. The next time you face a challenge, remember, strength isn't about never running empty. It's about having the courage to acknowledge when you need to refill your tank. That's the real legacy of the leader who dared to lead with kindness. Not that she never failed or tired, but that she showed us how to be both powerful and human. In doing so, she didn't just change how we think about leadership. She changed how we think about ourselves. On the next episode of Goddesses, if you ever wondered what it takes for someone to rise from the waves of synchronized swimming to weathering global financial storms, after witnessing Jacinda Ardern's vulnerability and power, ask yourself, how does Christine Lagarde navigate the treacherous currents of high-stakes finance while breaking gender barriers? Please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code, or follow the pinned link to get our free 7-day email course, Be an Unstoppable Woman. 7 days, 7 iconic women. Master the art of quiet power, lead without apology, and turn femininity into your greatest weapon. Click the video that just popped up to watch the next one in this series. Or for episode summaries, behind-the-scenes info, and more, go to daily8.com/GOD. Thanks for watching.